This is Danny Flexen here for Seconds Out. Delighted to be joined by the WBC President Mauricio Sulaiman. Mauricio, how is everything?
Fine, Danny. I hope you're doing well. Very nice to see you again.
And you? I'm very well, thank you. Although there was no WBC title at stake in the main event on Saturday night, I feel that's a good place to start our conversation. Oleksandr Usyk once again defeating Anthony Joshua via decision to retain his versions of the world heavyweight titles. What are your reflections on their rematch?
Well, first, very happy, very gratifying to see such a huge fight, putting boxing in the place where it belongs. This event in Saudi Arabia can be compared to those great fights in the history, the Rumble in the Jungle, the Thrill in Manila, those fights that go outside of the normality. It shows how strong boxing is right now, and it's a tremendous force in the sport. And it was very, very sensible moment for Usyk when he's representing his country during such a difficult time with invasion that they're suffering, the mental issues that it took for him to be down in the battle line, defending his family, his soil, his country, and then to take a decision to leave and to represent Ukraine, and every single person having their mind and their heart hoping that their hero would prevail. So a very romantic happening, a very well-deserved win, and I'm very happy for Oleksandr Usyk. It was a good fight, close fight, but Usyk won, and it's been twice that he has defeated Joshua, and he deserves all the recognition.
And still a big future in the sport for Anthony Joshua, still a huge attraction, a superstar, and only lost to one of the very best fighters in the world.
Yes, Joshua has had a long run in the sport, has had great moments. He was a champion for several years, and there's much room for Anthony Joshua in the sport.
Glad to hear you say that. Now, talk almost immediately turned to the possibility of crowning the first undisputed heavyweight champion of the four-belt era as soon as the verdict was announced. So let's get some clarity on the WBC side of things, first of all. Tyson Fury recently made some public proclamations once again about retirement. Has there been any official communication from his team towards you guys at the WBC?
We had a press release sent out last week in which we confirmed that we're giving Tyson Fury and his team until this Friday, the 26th, to receive written confirmation. So instead of speculating, we're going to wait for the time that we all agreed, and we will see. There's Tyson Fury. We are very proud of him. He's a tremendous champion inside and outside the ring, and I respect him. I like him very much, and we're giving him the time that he deserves to make the educated decision that we all expect to be done this Friday.
So there's clearly two possibilities to what happens on Friday. Either he retires, relinquishes the WBC championship, or he continues as champion, which I think most people hope he does. What is the situation, first of all, if he retires and relinquishes the championship? Is it just a matter of the top two contenders would be ordered to face off for the title?
No, I don't like to speculate. Once we have an issue, we address it. To start right now, to try to discuss it will be a disrespect to Tyson Fury. So we're going to wait until Friday, and then next thing is next. As a matter of mandatories, Tyson Fury just did the mandatory. Sure. So he's free to do anything that he would like to do for a while. So In the case he remains as a champion, he has many options. And if it's a different scenario, we will address it then.
Let me ask you slightly differently then. What can the WBC do, if anything, to encourage an undisputed title fight? Is there any more you can do? Because as you said, there's no mandatory obligations on a Fury at the moment.
No, we have done it. We have constantly done it for several years. We gave a period of time when Wilder was a champion and Joshua, they both were talking, and we allowed 6 months discussions to try to make that. This year, last year, we allowed it again to see if they would reach the ultimate Fury versus Joshua fight that was going to take place this year in July, something like that. So we've been more than accommodating and flexible to try to have that ultimate unification for the undisputed. We are doing our best to give the world what they want to see.
Do you have a preference personally? Would you like to see an undisputed champion in the heavyweight division?
Well, it is always good. We like to see fight between champions. We've been encouraged them. We like the unifications. We like to see champion versus champion. It's good for the sport, good for the fans. It complicates the administration of the divisions for the organizations. But we have agreed to try to continue to see these unifications going. We're talking between the organizations to find a way that the mandatories are somehow organized when there's more than 2 belts at stake. So the fighter, the champion, does not have to be fighting mandatory after mandatory after mandatory. And the level of opposition has to be at the highest. So it's an interesting topic. This sport is the only one that is different from all other sports, where the leagues, they dominate the financial business side of the sport. Football, they have the league, they own the teams, they sell the franchises, they control the TV contracts and the sponsorship, etc., etc. In boxing, you have independent promoters that have to do, and they do events, separate events. There is not a season to follow. So there are some complications and adjustments. But when there is goodwill, when there is good business for the promoters, everything is doable.
You mentioned earlier, Fury Joshua, you gave 6 months to negotiate a potential undisputed clash then. It didn't work out for one reason or another. Would you anticipate Fury, if he doesn't retire, of course, Fury and Usyk being easier to make than Fury and Joshua?
I don't know. I think Fury would see the unification as a test, as a challenge, as a motivation to get back to make yet another statement as a champion. And I think he will be happy to look into that option to make it easier. I'm not sure of the complications that happened. We don't get into the negotiations. So we don't really know what happened, why it did not happen. But I see the Fury Usyk to be a tremendous interest for everyone.
And from your point of view, Usyk has obviously held the WBC belt at cruiserweight. Would you like to see him get that opportunity to challenge for the famous green belts at heavyweight?
Well, Usyk is such a special person. As a boxer, he unified the cruiserweight. He made everyone eat their own words when they did not believe he would become a force in the heavyweights. He's such a good person, a family man, a religious man, a man of happiness, of peace, a warrior. You know, he's so brave and a tremendous fighter. So, of course, I would be honored that he fights for the WBC belt in the heavyweight division. Tyson Fury is without a doubt the best heavyweight in the world. He's the pride of the WBC. So in a fight of those two characters, it would be a clash in the ring with two great persons. So it would be a little bit different from just getting into the ring to fight. They represent so much outside of the ring on their own.
Now, I recall a few years ago, or maybe more than a few, you mandated a mandatory contender. I think it was Kovalev Stevenson at the time. You mandated Kovalev as mandatory challenger for the WBC, even though he held a belt from another sanctioning body. That's a precedent, of course. Is that something that you could see being repeated? Not necessarily in this situation, but is it something you'd be open to?
Well, we're always open to anything that helps the sport. And at that time, I met with the representatives of Kovalev, and they made such a strong statement of them wanting to fight for the WBC title, to fight Stevenson. We did it at the convention. We mandated our champion to fight the champion of another organization. It was very well received in all instances, but very unfortunately, Kovalev pulled out. And he gained from that situation the signature of a contract with a TV network.
Yes.
So we were used. That is a reality. That's a fact, and that brought everyone to a very disappointing moment. I don't know if that is proper to do, because when you're champion of an organization, you have commitments to that organization. And we were led to believe that there was no issue, etc., etc., etc. But the end result was that it did not happen, and it was not good. So I don't know.
I was going to say, so that maybe makes it less likely you'd want to go down that road once again.
Yeah, it's complicated. When you control and you have the possibility of making decisions, it's different when something else is on the way. So that was unfortunate.
So if our goal as boxing fans or the boxing industry is to crown an undisputed heavyweight champion, is it better for us if Fury doesn't retire? That's the easier way to get an undisputed champion, in essence, because it's just one fight.
Well, it's one fight, and it's something that is live at the moment.
Yes,
it's very vivid. If Fury retires or Usyk loses one of the belts for a mandatory situation or whatever, then it will take time to get the momentum that we have at this moment. So this is the right time. The circumstances are perfect, and it could just take one negotiation decision and proceed. Otherwise, it could take time to build up again the momentum that we have in 2022.
Talking of those negotiations and the mandatory obligations that could be placed on Usyk, would you be happy to sit down with some of your counterparts at the other bodies to kind of talk about those mandatories and maybe come to a common goal?
We have done that. At the beginning of the year, we sat down and we discussed the importance of unified fights and the complications that mandatory challengers bring to unified champions, and much more to undisputed champions. And we discussed several ideas about possibly doing mandatory contender against mandatory contender to meet each other, to find a greater interest in that challenger, to be of greatest. But there's some legalities, there's some issues we have to mix and to see and to fix within the rule book, and make sure that the champions or the challengers that already won a mandatory spot, the rules have to be written in a way that there could be another fight ordered for a mandatory position.
Now, sticking with the heavyweight division for a minute, there's an upcoming fight, of course, between Luis Ortiz and Andy Ruiz Jr. Is that for the number 2 position in the rankings?
We do not do fights for a specific
position.
rating. Ratings are for according to merit. Right now we have the top contenders fighting each other. Of course, the winner will have it's billed as a elimination bout. Also, Wilder against Helenius is elimination bout to be positioned in the highest places, but it's always considered to be by merit. Joyce and Parker are fighting each other, and I believe it's a WBO event. So there's different issues that come into play, and but the top thing is that Fury is a champion, and we're waiting for him to make his decision.
And just on Deontay Wilder briefly, before I let you go, he had a long reign as WBC champion. He's achieved a lot inside and outside the ring. Are you happy to see him back or coming back?
Absolutely. He's a very special fighter. He held the title for 5 years, 10 title defenses. We are good friends. He was very proud and loyal to the WBC. We went to the White House together for the presidential pardon of Jack Johnson. We went to see the Pope together. So there's a great history behind him and the WBC and him and me as a person. Telly, his wife, is a tremendous woman with social responsibility programs. So it's a good story. I'm very happy. He deserves to be back, and we wish him the best of success.
Mauricio, really appreciate your time. Maybe we should catch up again after Tyson Fury has made his official decision early next week.
Absolutely. Anytime, my friend.
Thank you.